very, very interesting lady. Her name is Brenda. And you're going to get to know Brenda because she has an incredible life. So I knew nothing about Brenda. And then my producer, Ben, was like, hey, I am part of 52 Coffees. And one of my 52 Coffees was with this really interesting lady. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. And we were just texting, back and forth. I was like, sure, that sounds good. So then I got to the studio and, we were talking about the upcoming guest and stuff. And I said, okay, so tell me a little bit about Brenda. And he said, well, she's traveled all over the world. She has a really interesting job and she makes soup. And I was like, okay, those two things go together because, you can make soup on an airplane or something. But the more we talked, I said to Ben when she left, I was like, my God, we could have talked forever because wow, what an interesting woman. And I can't wait to eat her chicken gnocchi spinach soup and the red pepper. They're so good. Whew, maybe you've seen her at the farmer's market because she's there. And I need to definitely go there and get some soup. Before we get into it, though, I have to thank our show sponsor, North Bay Toyota. It is time to Toyota with North Bay Toyota. I'm Lisa Boivin, and this is To North Bay with Love.
It's time to Toyota at North Bay Toyota. Attention truck lovers. Have you been Tundra struck? The powerful and dependable Toyota Tundra is the new definition of grit. Ask us about amazing lease deals on a 2025 Tundra Double Cap SR 4-wheel drive and experience ingenious levels of capability, technology, and refinement. Or maybe you're an SUV lover? Take advantage of a limited shipment of 2025 RAV4s and discover the perfect blend of style, comfort, and efficiency in a compact SUV that ignites your desire to explore. Right now, get excellent lease deals on the Toyota RAV4 LE all-wheel drive and more. It's time to Toyota at North Bay Toyota, 640 McEwen, or online at northbaytoyota.com for details.
I was introduced to your name by my producer, Ben Sargent, because you guys met doing the 52 Coffees, was it?
Yes, we did. Yeah, it was my last of the year, and it was Ben. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So why did you join 52 Coffees?
Leaving the corporate world and having about 2 years and working online from my home, I just thought of it's time to get out there and connect with the community. People thought that I had just moved into North Bay, but I moved to North Bay in 2005.
Okay.
And so I joined the Chambers of Commerce, and I played full out with the biweekly of the 52 Coffees.
Yep. Okay.
So that's how I met Ben.
That sounds like it's really neat. We had the person, we were talking about it on a podcast, and it's something that I should really try too.
Yeah, because you would not meet these people in other ways in your social environment or stuff.
Right.
And even going to the social hours with the Chambers of Commerce, the 52 Coffees also provides that one-on-one time that maybe you would not necessarily speak with that person on the social hour of Chambers of Commerce.
And the Chamber of Commerce, it's called Business After Hours? Is that what they do? Yeah, okay. I've been to a couple of those, but yeah.
Once a month, and there's a lot of people there. So I find that it's easier to connect one-on-one with a coffee.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A little more time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little more kind of casual atmosphere, eh?
Yeah.
So you said corporate world.
Yes.
What was that about? How did you get into that?
I work for Bombardier, the aviation manufacturing that they were doing the CL415. They called it the water bombers, but now, so it's also a water scooper, the amphibious aircraft. And I've worked there for 10 years until they sold the division to a company called Viking in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was Bombardier here?
Yes, at the airport.
Okay.
And we were doing the final line of this wonderful, beautiful aircraft. And so we were able to do 4 a year and 1 year it was 5 a year. And this beautiful aircraft was just being moved in front of my office. And so I was the quality control of the documentation. So I would accumulate the documentation, look at it in the point of view of Transport Canada, and work closely with the inspector. So the aircraft needed to meet with the same with the documentation. So Montreal was my, all my people were in Montreal. And so I would talk with engineering, everybody to bring me these documentation. So once I was done with the inspector and he would say, okay, we are able to call Transport Canada, then I would call Transport Canada. Transport Canada would come and I would go through the same paperwork and the inspection with the aircraft. And then when Transport Canada would give us a certificate of airworthiness, then programs would call the client. And then the client, which was always international government.
Okay.
So I've worked around the boardroom with international governments of Ministry of Agriculture or Forestry, with France, Greece, Croatia, Italy, Spain, and then Morocco. That's the king. He bought also aircrafts. So I worked with those generals.
Wow.
I had a 3-page document of like what not to do and how to wear. And eventually they basically told me, Brenda, like, it's fine. We are in your country and you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Because I was always the only woman around the table. Boardroom table.
Wow. How was that? That must have been...
Morocco was a little bit... I touched the shoulder of I was talking about the logbooks of the engine and the propellers. And I went and touched his shoulder and I felt him like going, and it was like, oh my God, I told you guys not to bring me in here, right?
Because is that not allowed?
I was not allowed to touch that man.
Yeah, but you're only allowed to touch like your husband, kind of a thing, and then you can't touch.
And like I needed to be dressed in like a certain way, and so, but yeah, he came back. He was like, don't worry, and it's okay. And I also work with the Malaysians. The Malaysians bought this aircraft. It's military, but they bought the aircraft for security because there's a lot of pirating in the shores of the waters. They could see the infrared in the boats of the people. Wow. Yeah, so it was a beautiful 10 years of my life working with Bombardier.
Yeah.
Until they sold the last few aircrafts were sold to the Americans. The Americans is a private company.
Okay.
And Obama at the time did not think that aircraft was a good investment for United States. So they found a company in UK and for investing. And this aircraft right now in the United States is doing lots of beautiful work for the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a cool career. Like, what an interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you were like, there's like Jason Bourne stuff going on and stuff. You're like, selling things so people can check out pirates in the ocean so they don't get taken over by their boat. Like,
yeah. So that was the Malaysians and Moroccans. It was more of like the Ministry of Forestry and Agriculture for the international governments. However, what I found with that is that the importation, I'm certified as a professional logistics. So I exported that aircraft as well. And the importing regulations of that aircraft is just like buying a car from Europe. How will that fit into the regulations in Canada?
Right.
So it has to abide by the importing regulations as well as when it arrives in that country. So that whole aspect of exporting an actual flying aircraft into a different country was brand new and exciting for me.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you have to know there's so many levels to know, right? It's not just like, A and B, but it goes on the whole alphabet there because there's so many different levels of government or transport and different, Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I detect in your voice... that you speak French?
Oui.
Tu parles français, mais
oui,
c'est beau.
Français.
Et you come from Montreal?
I come from New Brunswick.
Okay.
I'm a maritimer. And I come from a line of everybody that goes to New Brunswick or goes to the Maritimes will always go through where I come from. It's Edmundston, New Brunswick.
Okay.
And it's at the border of Quebec border.
Okay.
And the state of Maine, United States.
Yes.
So it follows through. And where I grew up, I would go to school, in elementary, secondary school. I would cross the border and go to eat in the United States.
No way.
And then we have a cottage that it's at the border of Quebec. And so I find it funny because I always say that the sun rises in the United States and it comes through flying through New Brunswick and it goes down into the valley of Quebec.
Yeah.
Because it's Appalachians area that I grew up with.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We're I'm doing a play right now, actually, with the Gateway Theatre Guild here in town. It's going to be up in February. Just a little plug there. 5th to the 9th. But it's called Lunenburg. It's called Lunenburg, and it's based in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia.
Nova
and we
Scotia.
talk about Maine all the time because we are from Brunswick in Maine, and our characters, and so we talk about that. And so when you said Maine, I was like, okay, now I have a little bit because I got a map out. So I'm like, okay, I need to know exactly where Lunenburg is and all these places we're talking about.
Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so how did you go from there to North Bay? I mean, I would assume maybe because of Bombardier at first, but then, or maybe not. Okay.
I went to University of New Brunswick.
Okay.
I graduated from there. Since I'm French, at 18 years old, I went and worked in London, England with my backpack. I did not even know where I was going to stay that night.
Oh my God, that's brave.
Speaking English.
Wow.
So in this all summer, I learned and immersed myself in the language. So
Okay, wait. So you only spoke French when you went there?
yeah.
Wow.
A lot of my aunts and uncles, they married into like an American.
Right. Okay.
So I have two aunts that are married to Americans. They would speak to me. I would understand them. I would listen to the English television, but to me to communicate, at school in second grade, I only learned like vocabulary, and then at a certain point was grammar. I didn't really had a full-on conversation. Yeah. My sister was better than me. And so when I went there in London, England, it was like I was determined to learn English.
Yes.
And because I knew the business world is English. So so at 18 I did that.
Wow.
And I went to university. The following year I crossed Canada 3 times that summer. I worked on Vancouver Island.
Okay.
And that's one of the soups that I've learned how to make there. The following year, I worked in Montreal. I've learned one of the soups is from Vichyssoise, the leek and potato soup. I learned it from a Parisian chef that I worked for as a sous chef in Montreal.
What? You were a sous chef in Montreal?
Yes.
What is happening right now? Who are you? Okay. This is crazy. Okay.
And
you didn't believe me when I said it. I was like, hey, this is a cool person to talk to.
I said, okay, cool. Then I was like, well, what? And then he was like, well, there's soup. And I was like, okay, we'll talk about soup. To be fair,
I explained it really badly. I just said she'd make soup.
Just quickly, because we were, he's working, I'm working anyways. I came and I said, okay, so Brenda's confirmed. He says, yeah. I said, okay, so what are we talking? Like, so we're talking about soup, so she makes soup. And he's like, well, yeah, but she's traveled a lot. Like, she's been around. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
So basically from that summer, I eventually graduated from University of New Brunswick in Bachelor of Arts, which honors in French and major in English literature. And I got myself a working visa, just like I had done. Okay, and by the way, kids, if this is something you would like to do, my time working in London, England was with the program SWAP, Student Work Abroad Program, from 18 years old to 26 years old.
Okay.
And you can work in London, in England, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. Like, there's beautiful countries that you can get experiences from. So, hint, hint, if that's into you.
SWAP. Okay, cool.
SWAP.
Yeah, makes sense.
Student Work Abroad Program. It still exists today. Beautiful program. And the second one that I took advantage of that is because I had already worked in London, England. I had a working visa there. I couldn't go back there. So I went to Australia.
Oh,
I went to
go there.
backpacking all around Australia. Wow. I decided not to work. I actually bought my ticket, my bus train ticket on Oz Experience, and I went all around except the Western Australia, but I did go all around.
Wow.
One of my passion is Formula One. So
Oh my God, I love Formula One.
So I stood and walked the Formula One Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then I went to New Zealand and Hawaii and then came home and settled it into working. It's a long story to bring me to North Bay. After that, during my years, everybody was going to working. Was going in January, February to Costa Rica, Cancun, Pentagon. And one January, I was like, I'm going to Yellowknife.
Sure. Because where else would you go in January?
I was like,
why not?
where else? I want to see the minus 44 in the middle of the winter in Yellowknife.
I feel like an explorer. Like, forget Dora the Explorer. This is Brenda the Explorer, like extraordinaire. Okay.
So basically, I met a man there. He was from Sault Ste. Marie, and he would come and visit me in Fredericton. That's where I lived and worked. And I applied for international business at Sheridan College in Oakville.
I went to Sheridan College.
You went to Sheridan?
Oh my God, Brenda. We're like twinsies. Yes, I did the music theater program there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's a lovely school. Yeah, it's beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this has been a year and a half. I'm going to come and find out. So I lived in Yellowknife for the summer.
Okay.
And we lived with just a one light bulb and a generator. There was no running water. It was like on Ingram Trail, like 30 minutes north of the Ingram of Yellowknife. So that's how I lived for the whole summer. I worked for the air cargo aviation there.
Okay.
And there's all these internationals, like young pilots that were coming to Yellowknife to make the airtime.
Right.
Because of the light, right? Yep. Because at 11:45 at night, the sun is still there.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And by noon, it's 36 degrees. Like, it's hot in the summertime there. So anyways, I came there knowing that in September I would go to Oakville.
Yeah.
In Sheridan College for my international business, and he came and moved in with me. We lived together, and after being there with an international freight forwarder, we said, okay, we want a family. So we did a bet. Whoever is going to find the first job to get us out of Toronto.
No way! I love it.
Hence North Bay.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my!
So
wow.
He's still working. Like, he's a specialist in the Arctic. We're separated.
Okay.
But he's a specialist in the Arctic. So the program that he had in Baffin Island is still working on that. And for me, I started with Bombardier, and I went on with Red Path, and I retired at 47.
Nice.
And I started being a consultant in international business.
Yes. And
my daughter, who was 14 at the time, came to me. She said, I want to go do my secondary school in Europe. And I was like, okay, remove mommy hat.
Yes.
I'm also a coach. I'm a mindset coach.
Okay.
So I said, let's look into this. I need to make some research.
Yeah.
And I had a friend here that had already a Brazilian and a Japanese student come for 4 months. So I went to that program, applied for to be a host family, because I wanted to understand the security aspect, how they choose these families, like where my daughter is going to go.
Right. Yeah.
So I went through the police check. People came and visit and inspected my house and all that stuff. So it's a very good, safe program to receive the kids internationally and also to send our kids internationally. Hint to parents.
Hello.
Not saying it's hard. It's not hard. It is hard as a parent, but it's for the best for what they want. And
to go away is, you have to. If you can, do it, because you learn so much about yourself.
Yes.
You know?
So what happened is that the MLI homestay, it's Muskoka Learning International, it's homestay, and they say, okay, you have a student, but we need more rooms. Can you get 2? And I had 2 rooms.
Okay.
I usually rent 2 rooms in my house. So suddenly I became a single mom of 3 teenagers in my house.
Wow.
And it was the most beautiful 10 months. The one was from Spain, the other one was from Japan, and there was my daughter. So it was 2 16-year-olds and 1 15-year-old.
Wow.
So they were going to Scholar. My daughter's going to Algonquin. And by Christmas, it just solidified that for me and her father and her, that this is a good program. It's safe, it's secure, and it's an awesome experience. So, but during that time, I was sitting down Sunday morning and I just developed my old passion of cooking because now I was cooking for a full family.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So every single lunchtime, they would either have a cream soup, a risotto, or stir fry.
Yeah.
And at night, they would have a different protein.
Yeah.
And so after 10 months, they went back home, and my daughter went to France for 10 months. And I was suddenly an empty nester.
Yeah.
And that's how so I was like, okay.
Now what?
Now what?
Yeah.
I want to do something with my weekends.
Yeah.
And so Fridays, I sent out to, in Spain, Japan, and France, just like, give me 2 cream soups you love while you were here.
Yeah.
And each one of them gave me 2.
Okay.
And that's how I created my menu. And that's since March, I think, last year. Yeah, March, I've been at the farmer's market.
And what is your name? Like, what is your...
The company name of the soups are EuroClaire French Fusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
EuroClaire?
EuroClaire.
EuroClaire. Okay, like EURO, like Euro.
Claire.
Okay, EuroClaire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
It's my corporate name of I was importing and distributing a skincare line 10 years ago.
Wow.
And I need a corporate name. So it's EuroClaire is my corporate name, but I have French Fusion.
Yep.
I have Soucy Consultant for my international business import-export regulations that I help companies with. And it's also Soul Life Adventure.
Wow.
I have 3 different umbrellas under that EuroClaire.
Hey, guys. So at the end of Brenda's little interview, I'm going to get her to pull a question out of this bag here. I actually found this bag at work. Yes, obviously somebody had brought in some lovely Twigs things to work. And Twigs is one of our major sponsors, and we just need to say a huge thank you to them. Okay, so we're just going to take a second from chatting with Brenda because we need to thank Twigs. They have 5 locations. There is a location here, 2 locations here in North Bay, Sturgeon Falls and Sudbury. Great place to go for coffee. They have a whole array of deli products as well, so really good sandwiches. They have their pizza, which smells so divine. And they have a really good section of desserts and stuff too, right? So they have the cheesecake and their lovely scones and muffins. They also have a big array of gluten-free options. So if you're somebody who needs gluten-free, don't worry, they've got you covered. Head over there, get yourself a delicious, maybe a chai. That's what I had last night. I haven't had a chai tea in forever. It was so fantastic. It was really good. I did a chai with oat milk and the cinnamon on top, and it was perfect. It's exactly what I needed after a crazy Monday at the hospital. It was a nice way to unwind.
Sports aren't just what we do, they're who we are. Source for Sports North Bay is your advocate, your local support system, and your biggest fan. 1321 Fisher Street has grown from a place where knowledgeable experts can help you find exactly the gear you need, to the hotbed of team uniforms, apparel and fanwear, to a community stronghold for all the things that truly matter to you and your family's sports journey. We love helping you find your first pair of skates, as much as we relish supporting local leagues, teams, and athletes. Wherever your sports journey takes you, make sure you visit Source for Sports North Bay at 1321 Fisher Street so we can help you along your way.
How many different types of soup do you make? And,
Right now I have at the market, I do about 8. But when the francophonie, les compagnons francophones, they ask me, they always want me to do a rice and tomato because it's such a typical French.
Yeah.
And the other one they are always asking me is the green peas with ham.
Oh, yes.
French Canadian
Absolutely,
pea and
for sure.
ham soup.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't do those 2 at the farmer's market.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so will you cook those two and like deliver a whole bunch over to Les Compagnons, or is this like a one-time, like once a month thing? Or
No, they've asked me last year to do I did 4 times at the festival, the Carnival.
Okay,
Carnaval.
yeah, the Carnaval, oui.
And they've asked me again, Tourist North Bay has asked them to do a Francophone Day, February 1st.
Okay.
So we're putting something together for that one. And they have other plans that they want to work with me.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, well, definitely going to be getting some of your soups. Now, the farmers market's also open on Wednesdays, isn't
Saturday
it?
mornings.
Oh, Saturday mornings. I thought it was Wednesday.
Saturday
Okay.
mornings for the winter market.
For the winter market, yeah.
And after the May long weekend, it's the summer market up until the October long weekend.
Okay.
And that is Wednesday and Saturday.
Okay, so just
and
Saturday
we're
morning.
outside at but right now it's at the Kennedy Insurance Building.
Right.
Down in the parking lot. They've repainted the walls. There's a lot more light in there. It's more comfortable and warmer than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you'll bring, what are your favorite, do you have favorite soups that you
There's
make?
one that is chicken gnocchi and spinach cream soup.
Oh my
that
God.
one, I cannot show up without that one.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
And are you, very cognizant of allergies or dietary, or so some are like, is some only vegetarian, some are maybe vegan or something. Yeah.
So that one is the only one that has meat. All the other ones are vegetables.
Oh yeah.
And I was trying to that was my daughter's lunches during her elementary school, because I needed to put vegetables in her.
Yep.
But when I show up at the market, I've got 3 or 4 different options. It's a vegetarian and lactose free.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's coconut milk that I use. So carrot with coconut milk. That one has ginger and curry in it. It's a good combination.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 4-year-old that comes, and she's just a whole fan of that one. And the other one is a sweet potato bisque. That's also finished with coconut milk, and it has a cayenne kick at the back of your throat.
Okay.
And the other one I've turned into a lactose-free is the roasted red pepper cream soup.
Oh man, roasted red pepper, so good. Yeah.
There's always a lactose-free one.
Okay.
And the other one is always vegetarian, but not necessarily lactose-free. I have 2 that has cheddar cheese in it.
Okay.
And the other one always has cream.
Yeah.
I did, in the summertime, do gazpachos, spinach gazpacho. And I tried another one, is tomato-based gazpacho. And it was the gluten, the celiac, those ones, that they were happy that I had those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it a big, if you're making all this soup, is this something that, did you have to get the health unit into your plate? Yeah, you had to do all that and then retrofit your kitchen? Or because you must have so many pots and I don't know.
I eventually bought, at the market, you're going to see my soup kettles.
Okay.
They're good. There's a bain-marie. I put water in it, and it keeps warm the soup.
Oh, okay.
And it's a big one.
Yeah.
But at my house, I have creuset, the big pots.
Yes. Yeah.
And during the summertime, for the summer market, there's a lot of international people, a lot of visitors coming into North Bay. I was so surprised. Ireland, Australian, I've met people from all over, northern Quebec. There's people from Sudbury's, they come to, because our market is beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
And so basically, I was doing double batch. I would start 8 a.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m. because of filling up those.
For sure.
Those kettles. Yeah.
And do you have multiple ovens? Stoves?
No, it's all on the top stove.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have one blender, very good blender.
Yep. Good.
And so it works.
Your house must smell delicious. Your neighbors are probably just in the summer, if your windows are open, they're
it's my tenants.
Sitting out there.
I have tenants.
Yeah, okay.
So I had a lady from Nigeria and 2 ladies from India when my daughter was in France. And all my tenants always love my soups.
Do you ever cook with that? Did they ever kind of show you maybe something from their culture or their soup? Or that's really cool.
Yeah, we
That's neat, eh?
share recipes.
Yeah.
And There's one recipe my tenant does is biryani, and I need to learn how to make that one.
And food is such a thing. Like, it's just something that just bonds people together, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just brings people together around a table, no matter where you're from. Like, it's almost, like music. It's like another language.
Yeah.
I know my ex-hubby, Chip, he's an amazing cook. He was always a really good cook. And we use the Taylor shop just on Trout Lake. And it's owned by an Afghani family. And they're awesome tailors, by the way, too. Like, amazing. Their work is really, really good. And he was going in there just to, get some of his shirts done and stuff. And he said, hey, like, do you have any really good, like, what are the classic dishes, And so they started talking back and forth, and he said, okay, well, I'm going to bring you something, like, from Canada. I'm going to bring you something, maybe that my mom made or something, and I'd love, And so 2 weeks later or whatever, he shows up with all this food for them, and he said their faces were kind of like a little surprised, just because they thought, like, he actually did it. Like, he actually brought, because people will say that, right? But he actually brought the food in.
Yeah.
He was explaining what he made and all this stuff. And sure enough, he got their info, and then they called him, and they had made all this food. And I thought, what a cool, like, that's really cool. Like, what a cool thing to just even inquire or just even ask, right? To open that conversation.
It is.
And then all of a sudden and then you can start learning about the different cultures and how they use food to.
And that's why I love traveling, because you get to get that culture through food, religion. Like, I've been to countries that I never thought that I would be exposed to religion, but when I went to Nepal or Jerusalem or places like that, I was like, okay, I have to really try to understand certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
And also the food itself and the culture behind that food is a story in itself.
Yeah. So we obviously, yes, Twigs Coffee Roasters, one of our sponsors.
I just saw your head go, your eyebrows are, so it's a good one. It's a good question.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no, is it? Okay, because she was like, oh, shoot. Well, and so, this is like going to be a new little segment, I think. We may change the bag up depending on, the time of year, whatever, but I thought this Twigs one was appropriate. And I've just put a whole bunch of fun little questions in here, and I'm going to get every guest gets to pick a question. Is yours? What is yours?
My question is, did your parents read you bedtime stories? The answer is no.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be still at that time independent, did my own thing, and they would realize that I just went to bed.
Brenda's like, I'm out.
I'm out.
That could have been in like one of two ways. That could have been like a really sad question.
It could have been like, okay, I guess we're going to, okay. Are you sad about that? That they didn't read you bedtime stories?
No.
No. You were cool with it.
It didn't seem like I actually, like my mother raised 4 kids, and my father was always away working.
Yeah.
And I've learned from her.
Yeah.
She was a busy woman.
No kidding.
And even though working full time and helping my father raise his company, transportation company, import-export. And so with 4 kids on the go and working all day, I don't even remember if I had a bedtime. Like, I would just get up and go.
Your own thing. I love it. You're like, hey, Brenda's fine. She'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
And it's the story of my life.
There you go. Did you read to Emma?
I did.
Okay. Yeah.
That was my one thing that I wanted to do. Is I've always read to her until she was old enough to say, I can read on my own, Mom.
Awkward.
Yeah, that was one thing that I promised myself I would do.
In English and French?
Mostly French.
Okay.
Because she goes to a French school, but the environment is always English.
Right.
Her father is English.
Okay.
Everything is English. And when you're immersed, as we spoke, it's easier to retain that language.
Right.
But when you don't speak or hear the French language, it's easier to lose. And that's why she went to France, to really hunker it down that she came back with a total different French.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder, and it would be interesting to find out how she was treated, because I've heard sometimes that depending, that they won't depending on your French, right? Like if it's not the Parisian French or it's not something, they kind of look down on you a little bit.
She was in the Brittany section of France.
Okay.
So it's a kind of like a total different French than Paris.
Okay.
The Paris.
Okay.
And but yeah, there's most of the time she couldn't understand them and they couldn't understand her.
Wow. That different, eh? The dialect. Wow.
The dialect, but eventually, like she caught on. And today, I find she's got a beautiful French.
Nice.
Yeah, speaking French.
Yeah, there's so many different, like growing up in Timmins, I mean, we had the Kirkland French, we had the, the Kapuskasing French, we had like all the different, and I had neighbors, I did a lot of babysitting, and neighbors a couple doors over where they were Acadiens.
Right.
And it was that, when I first met them, that's what it was. It was like, okay, I know you're speaking French, but I don't know, because she would drop the consonants in the middle of her words. Yeah. So instead of manger, she said mahe. And so it was just a totally different dialect. But, as I got used to it, it was neat because then I started to take on some of her words and,
the dialects and the slangs come.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm Bréon. I'm a Bréon.
Bréon.
So there's Bréon for the northern New Brunswick, western northern New Brunswick, that's Bréon. Acadians are in Bathurst area, Miramichi, which is the east-north.
Okay.
Chidiac is in Moncton is Chiac.
Moncton? Oh, Chiac.
Chiac.
Wow.
And there's the English in Fredericton. Fredericton's it's the capital, so it's bilingual. But the St. John's is totally English. So that's how the language is divided in New Brunswick. And it's the only province in Canada that's like literally by law bilingual. Has to be bilingual.
Wow. Oh, I did not know that. And where are your ancestors from then? Like the Beret, like where did that
Soucy
French...
and Lacombe are from France, but I think we're in the third generation into it. So they came in through Rivière-du-Loup and Rimouski.
Okay.
And there's 3 brothers, I think, from Lacombe that came. And there's an actual Lacombe, Alberta
town. Okay.
Yeah.
From them. Yeah, that's so cool. My dad did our family tree way back where Boivin. The last name was Boivin. And we... there were 3 brothers. That's funny. There was 3. There was Pierre, and I don't know the others, maybe François and Robert. I don't know. But anyways, there was 3 brothers, and they came over the same boat with Jacques Cartier way back in the 1500s.
Wow.
And so all of the Boivins in North America are related because we all come from these brothers.
3 brothers.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love that. Well, guys, I don't know. Like, I think Brenda and I need to go for a coffee somewhere, or, maybe I should just go to her house and raid her freezer and thaw out some of those soups that she makes because they sound delicious. Red pepper soup. Like, I love red pepper. I do love a cream soup. I don't know if I always love it, like, with cream in it, but I love a cream soup. Oh, and the roasted red pepper sounds delicious. And she said there was no tomatoes in it, which is great. Because, tomatoes and we just don't get along. And also, I love the fact that she was saying that, she knows a bit of Spanish, like she can read Spanish, but maybe she needs to speak it more. Because again, Sal was on the podcast just recently, and she was saying how much she needs to speak more Spanish and just immerse herself back into that world. Maybe that's what I should do. I should set up Sal and Brenda on their own 52 coffees. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be matchmaker. Yenta Lisa. Listen, head over to our website, northbayecho.ca. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can check out all the other podcasts that are available on the Echo network. And wherever you listen to your podcast, be it Spotify or Apple or YouTube, if you're watching this, why don't you send us give us a like or send us a message, maybe you have a comment, a question, let us know, if you really like this episode and you want more like this, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, much love, North Bay.